Welcome back to the Crazy Gates podcast. My name is Ino.
And my name's Kayla.
Yes, we are.
And I can finally breathe again.
Tell me about that experience. I feel like this just happened. You don't sound any different. Like you didn't sound nasally before. You don't sound nasally now. So
interesting.
What, do you feel different?
I feel way different. I don't know if I like it.
Speak. Say something breathy, like we practiced before.
Say something breathy, like what?
I don't know. Something that involves like a nasally.
Like M's and N's. Nose.
You sound.
Mississippi.
There's no way. Okay, there's a weird way I can describe
Nantucket.
it. There's only one weird way I can describe it. You know how when you're bouncing music, right? You have bass and then treble, right? Like the bass increases, but obviously then treble increases like the sharpness of the sound. You sound like you just had more treble added into like if you're a guitar amp, you just turned up your treble a little bit.
Yeah. And now I'm just breathing too much air.
You know, I'm excited for you because this is exactly what they do in Demon Slayer with their breathing techniques. Like they just.
I almost feel like, you know how sometimes cats do that weird like little sneeze? It's almost like a sneeze, but not really.
This is a.
I feel like doing that constantly. Like it just moves in my nose. Like I don't know how to explain it. It's like I was taking in like 25% the amount of air that I'm taking in now. So now it's just too much air all at once, and I feel like I need like a filter. Like a nose filter. No,
okay. This is what you're supposed to be. This is what we call the human activation.
This is what people are really like on the day-to-day.
Yeah, this is what I'm like.
It's like, you know how when you have a stuffy nose because you have a cold and you like
finally get it unblocked,
realize that you've taken like breathing for granted?
Mm-hmm.
I have that, but the opposite right now.
You've been enjoying your non-breathing abilities. And now that it's finally
And now I'm breathing too much and I don't like it.
Interesting. There was a topic before we get to your fun fact that I wanted to bring up. Did you remember what I had sent you on Facebook? When I wanted to save it? Okay. What was it? Give me a breakdown. See if we can jog my memory.
Our chances of being human.
All right. Perfect. This is a really fun conversation, right?
Yeah.
So Neil deGrasse Tyson, right?
Okay.
He went on a Joe Rogan podcast. No, actually, it wasn't on a Joe Rogan podcast. It was that other country dude that he's like, oh, my favorite type of weed is cocaine.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about?
I want to say his name's Tyson, but I know that's not it.
It's something. He's very country. Like he's John something. I don't know. Doesn't matter.
I'll Google it while you tell me this story.
So he was on his podcast and he was just talking about like the chances of humanity, right? And so he gave a number roughly like this 7 point.
It's Theo Von.
Theo Von, that's what it is. Thank you. But there was the number of people that are on Earth right now is like 7 to 8 billion people. The amount of people that have existed throughout time is over 100 billion people. Like, just naturally. And the thing is, we only got to 1 billion like recently, in recent times because of modernization. Before we could never had that many people at once. But naturally, just understand there's over 100 billion people on Earth. If you look into our genetics, right, the genetic variability of a person, the chances of them actually existing are far lower than the people that actually exist. So even though there's been hundreds of billions of people existing, that's only a fraction of how many people could exist.
Yeah.
Based on the genetics that are presented. So just us being alive already.
Yeah, because there's like a bajillion different ways that my parents' genetics could have mismatched.
Yep. Sperm, not just mismatched per sperm, for everything like that. But let's take it a step further. The chances of you being born a human compared to any other type of animal is like 1 in 6 million.
Yeah.
So mix that fact.
That's the one that I thought you were going for was like you could have been like woke up and been like a cat. You could have woke up and been like a bird. That's where I thought you were going with it, not just the like being human in general.
Let's put that together. So on top of the 1 in 6 million chance of being born a human, period, the variable of you that is born is an even smaller chance of the fact that it existed, but here you are. So, this is just to everybody else as well. Thank you for existing, because probability-wise, you should not exist.
I feel like I don't want to exist. I feel like one of my other genetic variations could have had a better life.
Yeah,
you know.
Remember how in Everywhere All at Once, or whatever, like with the
Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Thank you, Everything Everywhere All at Once. She said you're literally the worst version of yourself.
Right? Yeah.
So you mean there's nobody else?
That's what I'm saying. Like, even the Rock version.
You are the worst version of yourself. That's why you're able to do what you just job.
I think the Rock scene is my favorite scene in the whole movie.
You just be a rock. So white out on the way, like, no, don't ruin it. Just be a rock. But yeah, you know, like that fact has been fucking with me a little bit. Like the mixing of not only like the 1 in 6 million, not only the chances of even being a person, like probability wise.
Do you think
me being the worst version of myself in these multiverses is like,
So, speaking on the genetic variations of yourself, right? I'm going to bring it way down and say there's like 10 different genetic variations.
Okay.
I know there's way more, but let's say 10. Do you think that your consciousness would have been in one of those, like in all 10 of them? Like,
hell no. Oh, no.
Or do you think they would have like completely different minds?
Completely different minds altogether, because I don't believe in like that soul stuff. Like in the sense that like, even though you're in different versions of yourself, like your soul is connected. No, like we are a genetic byproduct. We are ones and zeros that have been. We're a very complex set of ones and zeros. But we're still ones. We're still an organism nonetheless. You know, we break down. We cultivate. So like we've, you know, made an abstract idea of like things like emotion. Like I feel like, but still just a.
So you don't believe in previous lives or anything?
No.
I think it would be really cool.
It would be fun. It would be fun to know that.
Like if you could go to like a hypnotist or something and get it unlocked and like see your previous lives, I think that would be so cool.
It would be fun.
But I don't know. I just feel like there's gotta, if that were a real thing, there has to be at least like more people that remember something, you know?
Oh yeah. And there's just people definitely say like, oh, I was your grandfather. Back in the day, I used to call you Jimmy, but you hated that nickname. It's like, I've never told anybody that nickname because I actually did.
Yeah, like that should be happening more if past selves is a real thing.
Mm-hmm. Or we could really just be clogged. Like that's just the way that this game is designed.
Yeah.
The way that, but not to get too far off topic, I saw a Twitter post where it's just like a mock Twitter post of just like, Earth got its new update. New update is that, you know, grass is a little bit more greener, it's been refined. You will notice a little bit of a gravity shift and like just like a game devs like
that'd be so fun. Cool.
So I was just thinking like, if Earth was actually very oh guys, guess what? Haircuts now cut like the hair texture is now thinner, so haircut it affects the economy of the world.
Could you imagine and it comes up on your phone like a Amber Alert or something? It's like, just to let you know, Earth updated.
Yeah, Earth update.
Or it's like, or when your phone goes to update, it's like, remind me later.
Oh, shit. Like, did you get your bio update yet? Like, shit, I'm still running on the iOS 16.
I'm still on the last version.
Bro, like that. I saw that posted. That shit just made me chuckle because bald people get +5 intelligence. You know, so baldness is that like little game facts that.
But if it was bald people like that, would it be if you just shave your head bald immediately you get intelligence? Or is it people that have like actual hair loss?
Baldness
that genetically become bald.
A game fact, the Earth fact is if you are bald, you get +5 smartness. Whatever.
Everyone's gonna be bald.
It's a trend. Who knows? That could just been a hot fix. Yeah. And then you go back like, oh, no, actually long hair.
It's like when you in Destiny when you take all the items that have like the highest level. And you just put all of them on all at once, even though nothing goes together.
Fuck yeah.
That's what life would be like.
God, the new Earth update, is sick. I fucked with it. But yeah, welcome to the Crazy Gays podcast. I know that's a little bit of intro, but I do want to stick to the schedule. So, first thing on the list, Kayla, what are your fun facts? I want to know some fun facts.
One fun fact. Abraham Lincoln.
Freed the slave.
Yeah. Apparently, he had a very shrill, high-pitched voice.
What do you mean? What do you mean he had a shrill, high-pitched voice? Like, is this... Fourscore and 7 years ago, there's a nation.
They don't have any, like, recordings of it, obviously. But from, like, going back and, like, reading, like, historical texts and, like, notes and, like, stuff about him... Apparently, he had a shrill, annoying voice.
He looks like you'd have like
a really deep voice.
Like,
yeah,
my fellow Americans, Slavery.
I think it's the beard and the really tall hat.
And the jawline! This man was like he was... How are you gonna have a... No. Abraham Lincoln?
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
But anyways, last episode, we were talking about how some people shouldn't be allowed to name babies.
Segue.
And how some babies shouldn't... some names should be illegal, right? Mm-hmm. So I did some research, if you will.
You have to do your research.
And I found that there are some names that are illegal to name your baby in different countries. The first one is Saint.
You can't name your son Saint?
Yeah, like Kim Kardashian and Kanye's kid Saint. That name is illegal in New Zealand because you can't give your kid names that resemble official titles.
Like Sir.
So Saint, King, like Rain, none of it.
Interesting. Okay. And it's like, I like how it's like in different countries. So I have a follow-up question now if you give me some more of these names. So let's get through all the names, digest the names with everybody. But then I have some questions about like, jurisdiction. So go ahead.
Pause for a second.
Welcome back. 12:30.
Welcome back. Okay. You watch anime. Right? I watch anime. The name Akuma.
Akuma.
Is illegal in Japan.
You can't you can't call your son Bear?
No, the devil one. The demon one.
Akuma.
Akuma.
Not like a bear. Like, he wasn't strong as a bear.
Yeah.
No, he was literally Akuma.
Yeah. Because, obviously, it's devil. So, in Sonora, Mexico, you cannot name your kid RoboCop, Scrotum, or Facebook. Those are all names that parents tried to give their kids.
In Mexico.
Okay,
I'll keep going, because I still have some questions.
And it's purely based... The reason why you're not allowed to name your kids that is just because they're going to get bullied.
Hold on, now you need to ask. Some motherfucker really said here and said, I'm going to call my son RoboCop.
I'm going to call my son Scrotum.
Yeah, that's another one.
Scrotum.
Lamar Scrotum.
Could you imagine?
What's your name, Scro?
Scrotum,
Jakes? Scrotum.
What even? You can't have a middle name with that name. It doesn't make sense. It would have to just be Scrot.
Yep. Is this Scrot?
Okay. In Saudi Arabia, you can't name your kid Linda.
Huh? Wait a minute. I'm not gonna spill names on anybody that we know personally, but we know a Linda. That is, yeah.
We do.
That is insane.
You also can't name your kid Maya, Emir, or Yara, or Laureen. All just because they are not in line with social traditions.
That's it.
So they're just kind of like too whitewashed, too Easternized.
You can't call your son, your daughter Linda.
Yeah.
Okay.
In Portugal, you can't name your kid Tom or any other name that is the short form of a name. So you can't name your kid Nick because it has to be Nicholas. You can't name your kid Tom, it has to be Thomas.
That's actually smart because it's like, all right, it's an official, thing. There's reason behind it.
And I also read, like, when I was doing this research, Portugal, I guess, and a few other countries, like European countries, have a list of pre-approved names. Mm-hmm. So when you're, like, expecting and you're going to have a baby, like, you can go through the list and pick a name. And if not, then you have to submit it for approval to council. That's
literally, like, this, we should have had this information in the last episode because we're going off talking about, like, we would dictate this. Like, no, we could literally just have a system, pre-approved names.
Oh, yeah, so this one is Denmark. They have a list of 7,000 pre-approved names. And, somebody wanted to name their kids Molly, Molli, not with a Y.
Oh, yeah.
And Monkey.
Yeah.
Call your son Molly Monkey. Was denied because of the spelling. Mm-hmm. And Monkey was denied because it's an animal and not a name.
Monkey.
And for those ones, I'm pretty sure this was the one that I was reading where it was twins. And the court actually ruled that the older sibling of the twins could pick the new names for the kids. So could you imagine, like, you take your kids and you're like, I'm going to name you Molly and I'm going to name you Monkey. And then the court's like, nah, that 5-year-old, they get to pick the name.
Literally. Like, no, your parents are dumb. Sorry, kid.
Yeah.
Literally.
Again in Portugal, you can't name your kid Thor, Nirvana, or Paris.
Oh, what? Thor? I was actually thinking, and I didn't know how to bring it up. I was thinking, like, that's a really nice middle name. Like, just add in there, just, like, Thor.
Maybe.
It's like a powerful, that's a nice, like, what's your middle name? Oh, his name, one of your names is Thor? Like, yeah, like, I don't know. It rings like...
It depends on the first name. Like, it would have to go together.
Yeah.
But I could see, like, it working.
Okay, next, go ahead.
In Iceland, they have very specific rules. Like, the name has to be able to be translated and conjugated in Icelandic.
Okay.
But this girl named Harriet, she went to apply for a passport, an Icelandic passport, and because her name doesn't translate over, they just call her girl on her passport. So it's girl and then her last name. And then there's one letter in the alphabet that... Oh, C's. I think.
C's?
I think it's the letter C.
Okay.
It might be a different letter, but it's not in the Icelandic alphabet. So that literally takes out any name with that letter in it.
Crocodile.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, this is the one. This is the one with the twins. Never mind. A mother in Wales wanted to name her kid Cyanide. Because it had a positive aura around it. Because cyanide was the poison used to kill Hitler.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
And so the twin brother's name was Preacher. And so the courts said, you can't name your kids that. The 5-year-old gets to name them. This was the twin one.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine?
Could you, like, what do you... My name's Cyanide. And that was a girl, too. Like, a baby girl. Could you imagine looking at your baby and be like, yes, poison.
Cyanide. Like, she has to have a villain arc when she's older.
In Quebec, you can't name your kid Ivory because it's too much like the soap.
We don't like that soap shit over here. You could be calling your kid, I guess with all laws apply, like dog shit.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, oh yeah, it's the dog shit.
Yeah.
But God forbid, Ivory?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are just some names that you can't call your kids.
All right, now here's my follow-up questions. All right, so it's illegal to name them when they're born in that country, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. People visiting that country with the names and they see their passport, are they just kind of like...
Oh, then it doesn't matter because you don't live here.
Perfect. Okay, so that's one thing I want to confirm. Okay, now let's say that we're in there, where we have a child. We're there in Portugal, and so on paper we agree to call them Nicholas. But I know I guess that doesn't really make sense because we just nickname him Nick, but his first name is Nicholas.
Like you're allowed to have nicknames in Portugal. You just can't be named the nickname
officially. Like it just there's no way like I can push that envelope. So I can still, even though his name, his officially name is Gunther, but I like calling him Broccoli because he reminds me of broccoli.
Yeah, like you can have any nickname you want.
Okay,
you just can't have legally these names.
Okay, perfect.
So if you want to name your kid Daniel and then call him Scrotum and live in Mexico, that's perfectly fine because it's not legal.
Yeah, I'm squared. I got everything I need. All right, random weird laws. You said you had...
Again, because I got down the rabbit hole of illegal names, and I'm like, I wonder what other things.
Other laws are...
What other things are illegal?
I think I saw something on like one of those Facebook videos that just pop up with this dude just doing random things that is illegal in England.
Yeah.
Like, you can't, like, you can't say bad things about the Queen publicly or else, like, that's, like, a thing, or you can't...
Yep.
Salute in a certain direction. Go ahead. Let me hear it.
Okay. So, in Philippines, This one is my favorite one. In Philippines, it's a crime to be annoying.
You can actually get it. Bro.
It's the offense of unjust vexation.
Ooh.
So deliberately...
That's the name of the podcast, sorry. I'm just writing it. Unjust vexation.
So deliberately upsetting another person is punishable by a prison sentence of up to 30 days or a fine or both.
Bro, this motherfucker was so annoying. What did he do? He kept fucking his...
So that's the thing. Like, it has to be something that's done on purpose, and I'm assuming you have to have some sort of, like...
Proof that
it was done on purpose. Because, like, if I... Like, we're just walking in the grocery store and I accidentally hit you with the shopping cart. Like, yeah, that's annoying, but I didn't do it on purpose,
Exactly.
You know?
No, it's definitely for those petty crimes that here in the U.S., those prank things, those prank videos that literally just, like, somebody walks in, you know... flips your cart, and then it's like, here's this, and then like, but no, you're being annoying.
Yeah,
I approve.
I just like the idea of the fact that I can say you're being annoying, and somebody's gonna like step back and be like, "Whoa, like
yeah,
no,
I didn't mean it. No, I didn't care. You can't say that. Like, if you go to the Philippines, like, hey, stop being annoying. Panic.
You're gonna get locked up.
Panic. Oh my god.
In the Netherlands, you're not allowed to lock a burglar in the bathroom of your house if he breaks in.
Where can I lock him, though?
And nowhere. You can't lock him in any room. It's just for this particular one, it said bathroom.
But
you're not allowed to lock them into any rooms if they break into your house because it's considered deprivation of freedom.
But they're stealing shit.
But they're breaking into my house.
Can I beat them?
I don't know. I didn't look into that one. Probably not.
Yeah,
because like you can't do that here in Canada, so I don't think you'd be able to do that here in the Netherlands.
The Netherlands says like, no, you just watch like, God damn it, and he's like, you can't stop. I have your family heirloom. Yeah. Oh no.
In Japan, you can be prosecuted for drunk driving even if you're not drunk and you're not the one driving.
Say that again. No, say that again. You could be prosecuted for drunk.
So if I'm the one that's driving and I'm drunk and you're sitting in the passenger seat perfectly sober, you can also get charged.
Okay, that's fair though. Okay, I just thought like if I'm just literally like not doing anything, like I'm just on the scene, and I was like, oh hell,
No, like if you're in the car with me.
Okay. If I chose to get in the car with you knowing you're drunk, I'm getting a DUI too.
Yeah.
But I didn't drink. I don't even drink.
Yeah, but you're the sober one, so why aren't you driving?
Because it's not my car. I don't want to risk it. That's true. That's people at first glance, that law is like, what the fuck? Like, yeah, freedoms. But now once you see like the totality of the situation, it makes a sense.
In France, you're not allowed to have any lights visible within 5 kilometers of the king's bedroom in the Palace of Versailles.
You can't have lights in how long?
Within 5 kilometers of the king's bedroom of the Palace of Versailles. So, like, obviously during the daytime, lights are free reign. But once it gets to, like, nighttime, lights out within a 5 kilometer radius.
If I see a light,
his bedroom.
Bro, if I see a light, it's like...
And it's actually really bad because the football club is within those boundaries, so they can't have the floodlights on at nighttime. Like, they don't even have floodlights on the field. And so if they ever have any like home games late at night, sometimes they can't do it.
That is hilarious.
Like, there was one time in 2022 in January, they had to go to an opponent's site or opponent's field 700 kilometers away because they can't have lights on at night.
There's not one like 50 kilometers away, 100 kilometers away.
Those were probably all in use.
They have to go 700 kilometers to play a game of soccer because
the opponent's field.
The king probably doesn't even care, or
Nah, he must care.
That seems like an old law. That seems like the great-great-grandfather. It's like, bro, I mean, it's there.
It definitely is.
But honestly, like, if I was in power,
it was enacted in the 18th century, so it is a very, very old law. But
niggas
it
love,
still
they love
stands.
Tradition. They love tradition. Cops was out here beating out lights, talking about like, hey, this lights out. Like, you're not supposed to. That's insanity. Give me another law.
That's all the ones I've got.
No. But I know there's one in England, but specifically ones like with the Queen. Like, you can't just do like dumb shit. Like,
there's lots. There was one that I was reading. If you catch a sturgeon or one other kind of fish that I can't remember, in the UK, you legally have to offer it up to the Queen first.
Would you like my Queen? No. Okay.
Yeah. So if you go fishing and you get a sturgeon instead of like.
What if she doesn't answer my mail?
So that's the thing is, they said that like the past queen, like the most recent queen, usually just said nah, like keep it, do whatever. Like I don't
every sturgeon.
I don't need for it,
He's
but
like, queen.
But yeah, it's a law. Like you have to do it.
That's so.
I just can't imagine like
when it was first enacted. Like
I'm saying like recently, like what if you've gone like you go fishing all the time, right? Every time you go fishing, the Queen's like, nah, I don't want your fish. I don't want your fish.
That one time
then the one time she wants it,
like,
then you just, okay.
I didn't offer it. He's like, give me that shit, man. Where your mom's at?
I thought we had a thing going.
Nah, give me that shit. Swiping from the, like, you have your own food up there. Why do you need my, nah, I like that. That's a big sturgeon. For the Queen. Well, I was gonna say when it
like the colors on that one.
When it was first enacted, that must have been the most like, give me your sturgeon. No, I don't want it. Okay, new law. Everybody that makes gets a sturgeon.
I want it.
You have to offer it to me first before. Like that's the most pettiest law.
It's one other kind of fish too. I just can't remember what the other one is. Can you imagine though? Like she doesn't even eat it. She just stuffs it and put it on the wall.
Didn't even want it. I didn't even want it. Doesn't even eat it. Doesn't use it. Just puts it aside. Like, no, I just wanted to know that I can take their shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting laws.
Interesting.
I'm so glad I have this new job.
Are you?
Compared to some of the other jobs I've had, yeah.
Why? Because
concentrics. I almost got shot.
Oh yeah.
I didn't really get it.
No, you didn't.
I was being a little bit dramatic.
If anything, I almost got shot.
Yeah, Kayla was going outside, so I was getting picked up from work. And then there was a shooter in the apartment across from where I worked.
Yeah.
And he had barricaded himself in the house. And so there was like a tactical team that came over. And so our workplace, because it's not like, it's a badge, a scan badge area, right? So security's pretty tight in like workplace anyway. So you need a scanner to get through doors, to get into the call center area, because it's confidential information that's in there. So we were on lockdown because like, okay, nobody comes outside. The cops already gave us the go ahead. They don't know how long this is gonna take, so chill out. And I was so mad because motherfuckers that already had to sit here for a shift, you know, that doesn't matter because you're here for 6 hours anyways. I was done.
Yeah.
I was done my shift.
You were there for 8 hours already.
And so I could have I was just trying to go home. And so I was just waiting around the cafeteria. I literally smoked so many cigarettes because there's nothing else to do. I go in, watch a little bit of anime. And so Kayla,
I was dying.
Speaking of Kayla, tell your side of the story.
So I swung into the parking lot just a couple minutes before the cops blocked off the road. So I'm sitting there and like some cop comes up to my window and like knocks on it. I'm like, am I doing anything wrong? Like, I'm just here to pick up my husband. Like, what's going on? And he's like, we're going to need you to stay in your vehicle. And I'm like, oh, like,
sir.
Like, okay.
Sir.
I didn't plan on getting out anyways. But sure. And so I'm sitting there in the parking lot messaging, you know, like, do you know anything? Like, what's going on? Because I'm not going to talk to the cops and ask questions because I just feel like then they're gonna start asking me questions.
Yeah, it's just gonna be I don't need attention.
So he told me to stay in my car. I'm staying in my car, and that's all I'm gonna do. And so I'm messaging Ino, and he's talking about it, and then like I see the cop cars come out, and they like get the dogs out, and then I see these guys come out with their like big bags of like tactical gear, and like this one guy, he jumps over the fence.
Yeah, the fence you talking about,
changes. And then jumps back over to the other side of the fence, For what? Like, for no reason.
Bro,
because either way, he's still facing the area and nothing is covering him.
No. Let's really set this up for you, right? For viewers at home, like, it's just picture a fence to a point. So the fence ending, you could walk around.
Yeah. But like the shooter, if the shooter were to come and try to get that specific police officer, he could have got him regardless of what side of the fence he was on, because it was perpendicular to the way that the shooter would have been shooting.
I'm just sitting here, it's like, but I get it because it's a field day.
It just looks like fun.
No, it's a field day.
He's bringing out all the tricks.
Bro,
everything he learned in police class, that's what he was doing that day. Mm-hmm. So I just let him have it. I was just sitting there, like, watching him. But it's summertime. Like, it's peak, I want to say it was like July. And so I'm sitting there in my car and like I don't know how long this is gonna go, so I'm not running my car the entire time, and so there's no air conditioning. I'm not allowed to have my windows like all the way open, just like a crack open. So I'm sitting there sweating and dying because I was sitting in that car for at least an hour. And at some point, I just messaged Ino, like, I'm so thirsty. And so Ino goes and he grabs a Gatorade bottle from the vending machine inside his work, and he sneaks to the fence, and I sneak to the other side of the fence, and he just tosses it over. Bro, and then I run back to my car.
Fam, it was a serious situation, but it was like, here you go. Just love across the fence.
That was a great time. Bad for the people involved, but like...
I think it was like 3 hours.
It definitely was at least 2 hours that I was sitting in there.
And then when they finally got home, I was so sick because that's like almost 11, 10 hours outside the house over some bullshit that was just... I don't know. If I had called in, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
If you would have called in, we wouldn't have had to deal with it.
Yeah. There's also some like that call center area was my first kind of like professional job because we had like the key cards and scanners thing, but I did a lot of like I would go 3 times out of the 5 days, and like at the point where because they needed people, and
I did the same thing when I worked at the call center.
Bro, and this city looking at me like, well, I have to give you a conversation. So
call center jobs are the worst jobs.
I'm just sitting here. Let me talk to you. We have this conversation, right? Yes. Please try to come in better more times. All right, cool. Thanks for having a conversation. Sign it off for me. Gets up like. I'm like, bro, we could really just have this as an email. I'm gonna do it. You know
what it is though, is they want to fire you, but they know that they can't because nobody else wants to work the call center. Nobody.
At least you come some the days.
Yeah.
Rather than know the days.
Yep. Because I did the same thing at mine. Is like if I did come in, I was definitely signing up for early release.
Yeah.
And I would be out of that bitch in 4 hours.
Dog, I don't even want to talk about like the plays that I would run at my Apple job.
Oh yeah.
That I don't want to. I'm not gonna talk about public because just
See, for me, when I was at my call center job, I would go on coach mode all the time, which is like when your manager, your supervisor comes over to like talk to you or do whatever. And at first, I had it so good. I had it so good because my coach, my manager or whatever, he really liked me. I found out later that he really liked me.
Yeah, we'll talk about that after.
But at first I thought like, oh, we're just cool, we're friends, whatever. Because he would let me, as long as my numbers were good for the few calls that I did take.
You coach whenever you want.
I could sit on coach for hours, bitch. So everyone else around me is taking like 30, 40, 50 calls in one shift. I'm taking 7, 8. Because I would coach at the beginning of my shift, since that would be the busiest times, and then once it got later at night, then I would take off. Like I would get it off and then just sit and coast and take the few calls that came in every once in a while.
Yep.
But that was so great. And then all of a sudden they switched managers on me. And I got this annoying bitch that was like actually serious about doing your job.
You know what I'm saying? Bro, we're selling cell phones.
I was doing hotel reservations.
Dog.
People go on booking. Like,
this is the most unserious, like, bro. We're getting paid in lump sums Like they're making their money not from us. Like they're making their money from the people that invest in us to use their services. Like for your instance, your hotel areas, us like like Rogers, you know, but it wasn't under Rogers. It's like a conglomerate. So you're already making your back for just existing. Like you have just like a net average.
Yeah.
Takes 60 or 70% of it.
Like majority of people that book hotel reservations do it online.
It's so dumb.
So like, what is the point of this?
It's always that mid-range manager who has a superior that they suck up to. But when they're in their own, like once it gets to like the shifts where there's nobody else around and
I would sit there and I would watch her doing nothing.
Yeah. And they've set up their desk. They have all these little knick-knacks to try to show them that.
She had so much stuff. She had pictures of her and what I'm assuming is her, like, I knew she wasn't married, so I guess it's her boyfriend, like, in Mexico and all this other stuff. And she's, like, she would get up and she would grab her cane because she had, like, a bad knee and, like, hobble over and, like, sit.
Bro, I'll take you back to this one lady that me and Jeffrey had. This is the job that I met Jeffrey in.
Yeah.
The job I met Jeffrey in, this bitch had a Bluetooth headset. So let me give you let me take you to the plane. There is roughly 20 to 25 computers all in the row in the shape of a U around in a small cubicle room. So basically there's computers on the outside edge of the U and there's a computer on the inside of the U, and we're all just in a line, like cubicle. We have our little desk and we just making phone calls, selling windows and doors, just going to say windows and doors, whatever. Yeah. I'm not just at least getting close. I'm not going to go too much into the job. She could, with her Bluetooth, bing, listening to people call, bing, per call, live. Like, we'd all just be doing on our things. And so you'd never know when she's listening. But every now and then you just hear like a bustle behind you. It's like, so on that last call.
Oh, no.
You didn't
see,
ask
our
her
managers
twice,
could do that too, but it wasn't a Bluetooth headset. They would just have to like click some stuff on the computer.
She could walk around the room with the Bluetooth headset and pre-connect. And
that's wild.
Brody, it was literally I wish I could get Jeffrey. Like when we get Jeffrey live for an interview one of these days, I want us to talk about that one. Like it was literally exactly how you would think, like Black Mirror shit. Like you wouldn't even see her coming. All of a sudden she's just sitting behind you like, ah. So yeah, as per protocol, we're actually supposed to ask 3 times when they say no. So they say no.
I hated that.
They say no a second time.
That was the same thing.
I'm like, bro, he basically hung up. He said, no, I don't want to fucking. And why didn't you try harder with that call?
Yeah.
What do you mean, what am I supposed to do?
Like, that's the thing with the hotel rooms is that, like, people will call in and they'd be like, I want a hotel room for, like, tomorrow night. And it's, like, 4th of July weekend or, like, football, what's the Super Bowl, like, in the city where the Super Bowl is. Like, no. Like, unless you want to spend $6,000 a night and they expect me to still offer that and ask 3 times. Like, not to say that, like, poor people sound poor, but, like, you could kind of tell. Oh, no. So, like, if somebody calls in and I'm like, you don't have $6,000 a night kind of money.
Yeah,
like,
you sound like you...
Like, not to be judgmental, but it's just, I know, like, there's no way.
All right. I want to, before as we wrap up this topic for call centers, I'm having a lot of fun with this because this is, I think I need to dedicate another section to this because you've unlocked the whole...
We could just dedicate this whole episode to it, honestly. We can save those for next time.
No. I want to see this guy.
No, because I'm on a tangent.
Are you on a tangent?
Yeah.
Fuck it. Okay. So next thing I want to... So what was one of the most annoying call? And in a sense, annoying where the customer was entitled.
Oh, yeah. So it was... I forget what holiday it was, but it was like a long weekend of some sort. And some guy had called in, and he wanted a hotel room for 3 nights that week, like that whole long weekend, and he wanted it at a discounted rate. And so I'm looking at him like, sir, first of all, I don't even know if we have any rooms available.
Let alone discount.
Because he came in right off the bat. He's like, I'm looking for a room for this many people, this many nights, this date to this date, this town, and I want you to give me the best deal you can give me.
Okay.
The moment he says that, I'm...
giving you full price.
It's full price immediately.
You know?
And I looked through, and it was, like, some random town, too. Like, it wasn't, a huge town. It wasn't, like, L.A. or, like, New York or anything. It's just random town, random country. Or random state, I guess. And so I'm looking, like, okay, so there's 2 rooms available in the whole town out of all the hotels that we have. 2 rooms. This is your number 1 option. This is your number 2 option. And he was like, well, don't you have anything better?
That's.
And I'm like, no. Like, you're calling on a long weekend the day before you want to check in. Like, everything is booked up. Like, I'm sorry, sir. And he's just constantly talking about, like, oh, like, I can find better deals on booking.com, and, like, I know you've got other things, and you're just not giving it to me. Like, I don't know if you just don't like me, or, like, why you're holding back. And I'm like, first of all, I don't even know you, but you're right, I don't like you. Secondly, go on Booking. If you can find a better deal, go for it. I could not care less. It's very much one of those, like, I'm never going to shop here again kinds of thing.
Then do it.
Please do.
Do it. You
don't ever come back.
Fam, I love how you say it like that, because that's exactly how mine was, except in, like, obviously a different fashion. So, obviously, Rogers, big conglomerate, big, telecommunications company, has phone, TV, like...
Yeah, everything.
Everything, right? So, we got a guy, right? There's a guy. He did the... the lavish thing of going on a cruise ship with his phone.
Oh, no.
A cruise ship.
I had somebody call me from a cruise ship before. Very bad cell reception.
Bro. So he calls from a cruise ship.
Yeah.
And he says, oh, I got the roaming package.
Oh, nice. Good for you.
So I can use my phone on the cruise ship.
Yeah.
No. Because he's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to, like, I'm going to this coast, and I'm going to go coming down to that coast, wherever. So this is going to be my trip. I didn't set this up for him. This is this post. I already, when I was looking at his case, like I was looking at his cell phone, he did have the Roam Like Home, and he did use the Roam Like Home when he was actually in the destination when he docked off. But then there's
the ocean,
$1,500 worth of usage on the, because this nigga just loved being on his phone for a date. Like, it was just all data. He wasn't calling anybody.
Doesn't the cruise ship have Wi-Fi?
I don't know what he was
doing.
Like,
I've never been on a cruise ship, but I would assume there's Wi-Fi.
I don't know what he was doing to use $1,500 worth of data, because
watching porn.
He got there's a $50 warning, and then after $50, this was actually a law that was passed recently where you can only charge like $500 per data chunk. Yeah. You can't charge more, but before, like, the Wild West, you could
do whatever.
$2,000 bills, $3,000 bills for motherfuckers that wouldn't just turn it off. Like, they got people.
Although, like, once I get the warning, like, I'm scared.
You're $50, because this is his logic. So you're $50 over.
Yeah.
You got the warning. You're on your phone. Nothing's clicking in your mind like, oh, I'm supposed to have the Roam Like Home. This shouldn't be.
Yeah.
He just said, like, oh, I was just on my Roam Like Home. I just must have been roaming a little bit. But yeah, $50. I'll just accumulate the little bit. So yeah, $1,500 worth of data. He comes on calling on the phone, fuming, talking about, I don't care who I'm talking to right now. Who I'm talking to right now, you're going to be helping me with this. You're going to be responsible for this. I want you to take responsibility with this because I have been robbed. I'm like, oh, excellent.
Robbed.
Excellent. Let me hear what it is. He tells me his whole thing, how he's using his phone on the cruise ship. Okay, point. While he's giving me his whole sob story about, like, he saved up money to go on this trip and all this shit like that, I'm already looking through his usage. All right. I see the red because there's barely any phone usage, just like outside of thing, but I see the red $1,500 chunk right there. And so I'm like, yeah, like, this is, yeah, you use your phone. As you see, you're actually on a satellite connection. There's a warning on your phone that does let you know about, usage when you get to a certain point. And if you ever have any questions about your package, because he had the opportunity to call Rogers for free to ask a question, he just said, do you accept this terms? Hit yes to continue.
So he had to hit yes.
No. Text yes to send back to say, yes, I approve of these charges.
Oh, no.
So, on contract, you agreed to it. So,
that's your fault.
The thing that made it so entitled, he's like, you don't know who I'm working with. I'm getting a lawyer, and I'm going to sue you for your bad. Exactly. I'm going to sue you for your service for not helping you get things. I'm going to sue your department that you work in, so they get shut down, and I'm going to sue Rogers and put you out of business. I'm like, I was sitting here like, wait a minute. Can I reiterate that back to you, sir? So you're gonna hold us legally liable for a contract that you signed, by the way.
Yeah.
Like all the terms, everything is ironclad, and I was sitting here laughing.
Okay, this is my work ID number. This is the name of my manager. I'm in this department.
Have it all. Like, find me, nigga, because that shit was hilarious. He said like, I'm gonna prosecute. You're gonna help you prosecute. I never heard from him again after that.
Well,
one
of course
phone
not,
call.
because he realized how stupid he was.
$1,500 bill on his head. He can't use anything outside of his lines until that's done.
Something like that almost happened to me,
bro.
And so this guy called in, right? First of all, let me preface. There was this one older lady who like sat usually like a couple rows behind me, and she was so annoying.
Yep,
I hated her so much. She was so like snobby and like above everybody else.
Exactly. I'm gonna take my.
You're like 53 working at a call center. At least because I was only like 18, 19. Like I still have time to get my life together.
No, I'm saying shit like, yeah, we're doing the same thing. What did you do in your life?
And she would come in and put her like wrist braces on, and she had like a fan at her desk, and like you're not supposed to leave things at these cubicles, by the way, because it's constantly switching.
But no, that's her desk.
But that's her desk, right?
Her desk.
And she would like constantly talk about like, oh, like her numbers are doing so great, blah blah blah, whatever. I found out that she was ignoring rules. So when I got my upgrade to tier 2, and I got to help people book in like all-inclusive hotels, and like vacations and stuff like that, this guy had called in, and he just wanted to like edit a booking that he already had, kind of thing, and like ask a couple questions about the hotel. And so it was all-inclusive, which for all-inclusive hotels, you have to have the correct number of people in the room. And you have to write down exactly how many people. You can't sneak people in there. Because it goes by how many people are in the room, right? Yep. That's how the rate is figured out. And so this guy called in, and he mentioned something about like his family of 5 going. And I looked at this room, and I said, sir,
there's only 2 people here.
There's only allowed to be 4 people in this room. So you're going to have to buy another room.
Or somebody staying home.
Or we're going to, like, have to cancel it. Or like,
because you heard it. Like, you heard that information. I can't.
Because he told me that he had five people that were going on vacation.
And everything. Yeah.
3 kids and 2 adults. And he's like, oh, but one's a baby, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, it's still a person.
That's kind of bullshit, though.
But it's... The room can only fit 4 because of the fact that, like, fire codes.
So the whole resort...
So the whole room in itself was only allowed to fit 4, and I couldn't find him a room available that fit 5. So legally, he's not supposed to have just one room. So just because of the fire code, but then also, he's only... Or I think it was, like, a toddler. Maybe not a baby, but it was a toddler.
Sure.
And so, like, he was going to have to get another room. And he's like, well, I don't want to do that. And I'm like, well, did the other agent know that you had, like, 5 people? Because he was talking about, like, they, like, I was able to book the room with the other, like, agent, blah, blah, whatever. And I'm like, oh, like, did they know that you had 5 people that were staying in the room? And he's like, oh yeah, like I told her, she said it would be fine, I just don't tell the hotel front desk. And I'm like, interesting.
Poor Jose, you say.
And I looked to see who booked that room. It's wrist brace bitch in the back.
Did you tap her on the shoulder?
No, I went to her manager.
And what is her manager? Ooh, Kayla, tell me.
Yeah, so first off, I had to get the guy, like, figured out, right? And so, like, I'm telling him, like, because he's like, well, what happens if I just go and I don't book a second room? And I'm like, well, I wouldn't advise that.
Because now they're aware.
If you get there and they don't have a second room available, they're going to cancel your booking, and then you're going to be... Stranded in Hawaii with nowhere to stay. Because, like, Hawaii books up fast. So you're going to be just stuck there. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't suggest it. I would book a second room, and then that way you'll be fine.
Split the house.
Like, see if you can get, like, I don't know, an aunt or uncle or something to come with. Like, include another person in there.
Make it a thing. Just be like,
yeah, bring, like, your parents or something. Like, bring the grandparents. They can, like, be in one room with, like, 2 of the kids, and then you can have the baby, like, your mama or whatever. Like, make it into a thing, right? Like, get your money's worth out of it at least.
Facts. Yeah.
But he ended up being like, no, I'm just going to go and just...
wing it.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't advise that, like, because I'm making sure that I'm not getting in trouble, right? I don't advise it. And then he just hangs up on me. And so afterwards, I go on Coach, and I go over to her manager, and I'm like, hey, I need to talk to you for a second.
And you're tier 2, right? Like, right?
Yeah, I'm so the same level that she's at. Mm-hmm. And they're like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. Like, what's going on? And so I tell her the whole thing, and I'm like, I told him not to do it. It sounds like he's going to do it anyway, so we should call up the hotel and notify them.
Flag it.
And I've also made the note on the reservation as well. And the customer told me on the phone, like, you can go back and listen to the call, but the customer said specifically that the agent knew that there were going to be 5 people when she was booking a 4-person room. And then I think she got a talking to after that because she didn't like me.
Well, yeah.
But I didn't like her anyway.
Yeah, you fucking bitch.
So that was great for me.
Yep.
She got, because at the call center I was at, you got 3 warnings. Mm-hmm. So, like, that would have went on her, like, actual file.
Permanent record as
uh-huh.
And she's cracking her wrist like that. Young bitch out here.
Yeah.
Snitch. But it's your own fault. You can only be mad that you got caught. You can't be mad because you're trying to make a sale.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it.
And so I'm wondering how many she did like that.
Exactly. And people are just out here. And it doesn't really trace back that far because they're more upset at the hotel they're at and not really thinking about the person that booked it.
Because, like, even if you were to sneak your family of 5 into that 4-person room, all-inclusive hotels do wristbands. So, like, who's not getting a wristband? Who's not going to be able to, like, you're going to have to sneak them everywhere.
Yeah, it's going to be a house.
It's so annoying for no reason.
Let's get another room.
Yeah.
When you mentioned that work person, there was so many weird... Did you have, like, work cliques, in a sense? Like, not just people that were groups. I'm talking, there's a group of people that, you know, genuinely didn't care. So, like, they're, like, the normal people. Like, me and you would be like, okay, like, it's a job, but, like, it's not a job. Like, you're not going to sit here for, like, guys, we're cutting... It's Karen's birthday. Come cut the cake. Like, I'm not going to fucking cut the cake. I'm going to cut the cake. Let me keep doing my job. Then you have those people who have no management power, have been doing what they've been doing for a long time, but still at their level one they're at, but they act like they have, like, fucking clout. Oh, I actually remember a manager code here.
Yeah. But they were tier 3, so they got to do the message chats instead of, like, the phone calls. And they had, like, the one guy, I remember there was this one guy, and he was huge. He was massive. Like, not tall, massive, like, big. Like, his belly would hang out of his shirt. Mm-hmm. And for my call center, it was, like, the phone call part was on the 2nd story. So first story was, like, the lunch area and, like, HR and, like, the management offices and stuff. And you would have to take the stairs or an elevator up to the 2nd floor. He couldn't use the stairs. He had to take the elevator.
Yep.
So he got them to buy him a specific special chair.
Nice.
And it stayed in that spot, and he had when he wasn't working, he had a sign that flipped on it that said, this is not to be moved, like, don't touch this chair. This is my chair, blah, 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 whatever. And I'm like, that's wild.
No. There was this motherfucker that I remember I first started training with, we were first there training, and he had worked at a previous job for the same company, so the previous Rogers, but it was, you know, for a different product. So switching over, he already kind of knew of, like, some of the terminology of, like, the systems that we use because we use sister systems. Yeah. So he was already kind of feeling. So he's in class, leaning back, like yeah, that's actually that's a 2-piece. Yeah, no, actually, you know, it's a lost connection. Like, you know, saying all the things that the teacher wants. Tell me how the first 3 weeks when we were getting reviewed and stuff like that, he had the lowest numbers, bro. I'm talking like lowest customer satisfaction. He got pings from like other agents like flagging his message. So like if the same situation that was happening with you, a customer's calling back in, they have an issue because XYZ, but the previous person that they're talking with said that they did this. Listen to the previous call, coming back to him. He didn't last. He just didn't come back.
So speaking of that, when I did my training, it was a class of like, I want to say like 20 something people, right? And we did all of our training together. It was like a 3 or 4 week training program. And the last week of training is on-call training, but only for like half of your shift. The first time we took calls, this one girl immediately ran to the bathroom, started crying.
Yes!
Went home, did not appear for months, and then just out of nowhere came back and worked like 3 shifts. Never saw her again.
Yeah. I've seen somebody have a mental breakdown like in the office. It's so... Because I was like, okay, can I just put you on a brief hold for a moment?
And I'm just looking like, what... I guess the phone call that she did have was
pretty difficult. Like, it was like a level...
No.
What?
It wasn't a difficult... I guess it's difficult in a way, but not difficult in, like, the job way. She had a perv call for her first phone call. Because, so you didn't get them as much at your call center.
Because nobody's calling into Roger.
But our call center, guaranteed, once a night you'd get a perv.
Jesus.
Some guy just sitting there jacking his shit, trying to, like... use the hotel as a sex hotline.
Yep, like you have a nice voice.
Sometimes, if I was bored and just wanted to drag it out, I would talk to them for a little
bit. Would you like to try our hotel package?
No, yeah, because there was this one guy, and he was like, at first, the way it really started, like, I couldn't tell, but then after, like 2 times, like, asking him questions, I'm like, yeah,
he's yanking his wing.
Yeah. So at first he calls in and he's like, "Oh yeah, like it's mine and my girlfriend's anniversary coming up. I want to book a hotel room." I'm like, "Okay, that's pretty normal request. What dates are you looking for? Like, where are you thinking? Blah 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 blah. Like, what kind of room do you want? Because obviously you don't want like a standard, but do you think you have the budget for a deluxe? Do you want like a suite?
Yep.
Like, what do you want? Right?
The works.
And he's like, "Oh, I want something with like a hot tub in the room, or like one of those like bathtubs in the shape of a heart or whatever, like those cheesy ones that you see at like motels." And like in the States, there are still some hotels that have them in the room, and so I found him one, and I'm like,
"So you're doing your job, like?"
Yeah, kind of. But then after I gave him the room option, he's like, "Well, I don't know, like, this is what I have planned for the date. What do you think?" And so then he continues to tell me that, like, "Oh, like, I bought my girlfriend an outfit, and it's, like, an all-leather outfit, and, like, all this, like, and stiletto heels, and, like, do you think she'd like it? Like, if that were you, like, would you like it?" And I'm just sitting there, like, yeah, I mean, like, if that's what your girlfriend's into, then she probably would like it.
That's weird. No, I never got, not once. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, and then you would get the guys, like, so that was, like, a fun one, and I kept that one going for, like, a while. Honestly, like, I probably was on the phone with him for, like, 30 minutes. Just, because why not? I'm there anyways. I'm getting paid.
Bro, they're gonna, if they listen back to your call, like, you knew that was a perv.
No, I was like, I am innocent. How should I know? I thought he was just planning a nice date for his girlfriend on their anniversary. I just wanted to help him have a great night and give my best customer service. That's what I would have said. But and then you get the ones that are like more obvious, where like guys is just immediately you just hear them grunting and they're like, "What color are your panties?"
Like, what do you like, my guy? My brother in Christ, how do you think this is going to play out? Like, I'm just going to be into it?
Or, like, one guy, he called in. And so, for hotel call centers, let me spill some tea. When you go onto a website for the specific hotel that you're looking to book, the phone number that you call never goes to the hotel directly. Even if it's that hotel's phone number, it goes to a call center because it comes up on our system. It'll tell us if you called just the general 1-800 number for booking the hotel brand.
Oh, to see if you put on the...
Or it'll tell you if they tried to call that specific hotel. So if they try and call that specific hotel, you have to pretend you're at the hotel.
Hey, what's going on? Like,
yeah.
Is this the Bahamas Resort? Yeah, it's great down here.
Yeah. Because people will ask, they're like, oh, like, how's the weather been? And, like, stuff like that.
Great.
Oh, it's been amazing. Like, the weather here is always so great. And, like you're just bullshitting. And so like this guy called, and he called for a hotel somewhere in the States. And so I get on the phone and I'm pretending to be at that hotel, right? I'm like, oh, like, welcome to this hotel in like Detroit, whatever. And his first question, are you in the Philippines? I'm like, no, I'm in Detroit. And he's like, oh, so you're not in the Philippines? I'm like, sir, you called a hotel in Detroit. Why would I be in the Philippines? Do I sound Filipino to you? Like, I was so confused.
This is the Philippines, isn't it? Like, what?
And it was like it was a perv call.
Oh.
He was yanking it, hoping to get a Filipino lady. But I don't know why he would call a hotel in the Philippines.
Literally. He thought it was like, I get it. But yeah. Well, this was our first Twitch show, I guess.
Oh, yeah. We're airing this. We're premiering this on Twitch. If you're watching this now, it's on Twitch. But if you're watching this after the Twitch, it's on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music,
give us our
YouTube.
social.
We're on all the streaming platforms. We're on TikTok. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. Everywhere is Crazy Gates Podcast. That's crazy, the letter G, the number 8S podcast. Although our Twitch is slightly different. It is just the Crazy Gates. That's it. No podcast.
That's
but still the same thing. And you'll find all of our links in all of our bios for everything too.
That's easy. That's easy money. Well, say goodbye, your friends.
Goodbye, friends.
Sleep well.
Bye.